Okay, trustees, we are live. We are recording. Phone lines are opened. Go for it.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular meeting of the East Hampton Town Trustees for November 10th, 2025. Can we open with the Pledge of Allegiance?
United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move here. Thank you.
To be on TV.
All right, Arlene, can you do roll call, please?
Sure. John Edward,
Here.
Francis Fox,
Here.
David Cataletta.
Here.
Patrice Dalton. Here. Ben Dollinger,
Here.
Jim Garnell.
Here.
Jim Brown,
Yes.
Celia Josephson. Here. And William Keller.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Matt, do we have anybody on the phone lines?
Please stand by. You have 0 additional callers. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll start with the public comment. We have Mary Ann Eddy here from Sag Harbor Village Trustee. Speak to us about Sag Harbor Water Quality Initiative. Mary Ann?
Ooh. Is that good?
Yeah, good.
And do we have slides?
We do,
Anyway, thank you for the opportunity to come and speak with you, and thank you for your previous years of support. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just recap a little bit of what we found out this year from the Gobler report, and I'm kind of comparing and contrasting to some of the things that we found in previous years. There's also a response, there we go, to some things that happened during the course of the year that caused us to sort of to mull over some of the previous results that we got. Next slide.
Something there.
And the next slide. So these are the areas that we looked at this year, and they're basically 3 different areas. On the left side of it is like Redwood and the coves. We haven't really been looking at the coves for many years with the idea that things don't change that much. And we found that they really hadn't changed that much, but it was good, I think, to go back and document it. Up at the top, we see Long Wharf and Windmill Beach. That was a very big interest to us because there's a lot of boats that are right now on the transient docks that are directly north of Windmill Beach. And we've found in previous years that Windmill Beach is heavily polluted. So we're really trying to figure out where that pollution is coming from and what we can do to mitigate it. And then off to the east, there's Havens Beach, and we actually sampled an outfall pipe that comes out of the Core Maria properties. Next slide. So no surprise, early spring in May, we found Alexandrium, but this is actually less than we found in 2022, and about the same that we found in 2023. Next slide.
What's that? Hey, Mary Ann, what's that spike on the Alexandrium on 513?
That was some kind of bloom that we had. I don't know anything more to say about it than that.
Nice.
But it's different than in 2022, the levels were so low, there wasn't even a graph. So in 2023, it was similar to this. I don't bring that picture here, but there were a couple of smaller spikes, nothing quite that big, but definitely over the dotted line, over the area of concern. Dinophyce, looking at that next, right there, stop. This is 2024. In 2022, when I look back at that, there was only one spike. So you could say that actually we're seeing more activity here with the dinophyces. And cochleodinium, when I went back and looked really specifically at this past study, I didn't see any report on cochleodinium, and I don't know what the answer to that is. I didn't really catch that before. Next slide. Total nitrogen, this is very similar to what we saw in 2023, where everything is over the threshold of 0.4 milligrams per liter. So next slide. This is what came in and grabbed a lot of attention. So ABC News picked up a Surfrider report. Surfrider goes and they were sampling they took 10,000 samples from 600 beaches from Washington State to Puerto Rico. Not every beach in the country, but a whole lot of them. And they had a report that came out and said that these are the 10 purest beaches in the country. And then they said, these are the 10 bacterial hotspots in the country. And the list of the 10 beaches was not alphabetical. Windmill Beach was at the top of the list. So this gathered a lot of attention, as you might think. And people were trying to say, well, what is it? People were very hesitant to say that it was the boats. There were people that wanted to say, well, it was coming from the sewage treatment plant. So I'm going to spend a little time.
What I was going to ask, Mary Ann, is I see these, I want to say, random spikes in the Alexandrium and stuff. Looking back at like weather events, was there a significant rainfall? I mean, there was nothing that trended up to that bloom. You had it on a day. The following week test shows almost nothing. So what happened in the interim? What happened before? What happened after that could potentially
Right.
explain that?
April shower in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The time before, when there were, like you said, almost nothing, that was on May 8th, then the spike was on May 13th, and then the next one, which is like, doesn't even show up on the graph here, was May 28th.
Yeah,
So-
I think what might be helpful on some of this is to have Bowler's lab interpret some of these results and give some sense or an indication what they think it might be. And it might help you guide you in this coming year's testing, how you can focus and sort of get some real hard ideas. I know we had a conversation while I was away when the report first came out, and clearly it's a little disconcerting, but at the same time, if this shines a light on something that can be dealt with.
Well, I think the underlying problem is nitrogen in the water. So you're right, if there was like a big rainfall, that would have diluted it.
Well, and sort of focusing on the offsite source of some of this nitrogen.
And I think the flat, and well, we don't have that picture up anymore, but we have a spike and then we have nothing. I think that's a temperature related thing as well.
Okay.
For Alexandrium. But I can go back and look at that because, I didn't recreate the whole report, but we definitely had rainfall information and we had temperature information.
The DEC keeps rainfall forever for a lot of locations.
And you know what? The sewage treatment plant does too, right there in Sag Harbor. So, it may not be quite as scientifically gathered, but they have a rain gauge
There's
and
not much science.
it's a rain
There's not
gauge.
much science involved to see what it's.
Mary Ann, I just want to clarify, Surfrider is sampling for bacteria, not nitrogen, right?
They're only sampling for Enterococcus.
Right, that's it.
And they don't do microbial source tracking, so you don't know if it's from geese or ducks or birds or
No, but we know,
seals. Somebody suggested we were getting pollution from the seals that are out there.
we know order of magnitude how much of Enterococcus is in the water, and there's error in it, I'm sure, but it's useful.
It's useful.
I find it to be useful, and I'll show you why later at Fresh Pond what happened there. But, so just want to make sure we're talking about, because you mentioned nitrogen, and we can't do that with surf rider data.
No.
It's too difficult to measure.
Did you have that conversation with Joyce about including surf rider data?
No,
Oh, because I think the last time I was here, I think we talked about how she's doing an aggregation of all the various, sources of data
Oh, right,
in the
yes.
Peconic.
Yes, he
and
did.
She doesn't want to include surf rider because it doesn't meet her scientific standards or something.
I can think of more technical reasons why it would be difficult to integrate that surf rider data, because the period of it is once a week, right? So the period of Dr. Gobler's data is not necessarily the same, so you'd have to do some fancy aggregation to put them together. But even if you just get the two reports together and you look at them, they're informative.
Right, I think they're informative.
Yeah.
And I think even this study that came out that everybody was like, oh my God, we're on that, the 10 dirtiest beaches, that got a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And I think now we have to get that attention and sort of bend it and figure out how we deal with that. Where is that coming from? And I'm not sure there's one answer. I think there's some people that really want to say, oh, it's a sewage treatment plant, and I'm going to show you some documentation that makes me question that. And we make a lot of money off those boats. I don't think, there's a little bit of that too. And the other thing is that people, about 2 years ago, they started, the harbor master and his crew started going out and telling people they had to tie off their Y valves. And it's like, I don't want to be critical, but I am critical. It's like, they think it's one and done, and it's that's a whole mentality shift. That's a lot of work to get all those boats to tie off their Y valves. And I think that it means you have to get that message out there in a variety of different ways over a variety of different times, so I'd kind of like to first, the older I get, the more an incrementalist I become. It's like one little baby step after another. How do you eat an elephant? One little bite at a time. So the first thing I'd like to do is, at least with this, and what we're going to do is we're going to continue testing into when there's no more boats out there, which is almost now, but I think we'll wait until after Thanksgiving, to show gee, the boats are gone, and so is the human source enterococcus.
Or it's not.
Or
It's
not.
not.
Exactly right. Or it's not, or it's a little, or it's more, whatever. Exactly right.
Do you have any numbers from the pump out boats over there?
What kind of numbers? Like how many
how
gallons? We
many,
know how
yeah.
many gallons, yeah, but I don't have them with me.
Okay.
Do you want them?
No, I mean, it's useful information.
It is.
Well, Sag Harbor's not unique in the respect of compliance to the Y valves, compliance to the pump out boats. What we've been doing the last 3 years is a little more closely organized relationship with Marine Patrol,
Great.
where they're asking our pump out boat captains, well,
Yeah.
if you're going to Marina X twice a week in the summer, and you're pumping out the following boats, are there boats that you're seeing, that people are living on, that aren't getting pumped out? Are there boats that you're seeing that you're not pumping out that never leave the dock? Okay, I mean, you could have people that are going out, and when they get out of the inlet, they're opening and they're discharging in open waters. It's not terrible. It'd be nice
I
if
thought the
they.
whole Peconic was a no discharge
No,
zone.
but you hope that they're getting pumped out.
Right.
But we're not far from perfect, but
Yeah.
we're getting better compliance with this. I think this is going to be something that's ongoing.
I totally
And-
agree with you.
I don't know whether Sag Harbor employs a similar kind of strategy.
Well, I'd like to know what your strategy is, because I think one thing I'd
I
like,
just gave it to you.
you work with the pump out
Wasn't
boats.
that complicated?
Well, no, but that's what I understand they do in Sag Harbor, is they ask the dock, the pump out guy, are there some of these boats that never call you?
Yeah, and there are.
And what, have people been on those boats, or do they put them in, May, and then they pull them out in October and you never see anybody on them? Or are they boats that seem to be pretty active, people living on them?
Does the Coast Guard ever visit Sag Harbor and do inspections?
Pardon me?
Does the Coast Guard ever
Yeah.
visit Sag Harbor and do
I
inspections?
think they do combined. My understanding is they do a combined thing, and it's like maybe even the DEC and the Coast Guard and our local people. And they've come out and they're sort of proud of the fact that they've found 2 violations. You're laughing, I laugh too. But, just anecdotally, I'm a sailor, so I know a lot of people that have boats out there, and I just sort of like, without doing anything scientific, I just said, so do you have did you tie your Y valve off? And somebody told me, well, they came around last year and they gave me this thing and I told them I'd put it on, but I never got around to it, right? And then 2 people said that they'd never seen them. And then a 4th person said, well, I didn't see the people in Sag Harbor, but I know from where my boat is normally kept that I have to do that. So I did it. So, and I'm not trying to point fingers. I just think it's a bigger effort and it's a whole mentality change, like you were saying, that incrementally we just get closer and closer to getting full compliance.
Well, that and focusing on the source of some of the issues, because it's very easy. I know over the years you've had, well, it's the sewage treatment plant. Well, and it's the boats, and it's the septic systems. It's probably
All of them.
probably all of them. But you know what? It would be nice to comb out the level of responsibility for each group to get some ideas that you can come up with a strategy to go from the most polluted beach to maybe the second most polluted beach. Like you said earlier, baby steps.
Baby steps, exactly right.
One quick question on the Windmill Beach thing. I'm assuming it's on the list based on the surf rider samplings. Did Chris Gobler do samplings in the same area, and were they compared?
That's a nice lead-in. I'm going to show you what Gobler found. Next slide. So I have this one. This is from 2021, and the green bars are Windmill Beach. And there we have 3 out of the 10 samples that were over the threshold for swimming. Next slide.
So, I'm sorry, I can't read the date. Were those 3 out of the samples with the green?
Mm-hmm.
What months were they from?
They were, overall, they were May 19th, June 4th, June 16th, finishing on October 7th, 2021. Those are all 2021.
So were the highest numbers in any particular month?
So yes, it definitely tailed off the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 first ones were the earliest ones.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so where did July and August fit into that?
July, all right, so if you just follow it, can you flip back?
This could be rainfall.
No, you can't go back? Please, there you go. There, okay. So the first one on the left is May 19th, the next one June 4th, June 16th, June 30th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's July 15th. So the last one that exceeds the threshold is July 15th.
Wow.
And then it's downhill from there.
See, I'm just trying to correlate activity in the harbor
Right.
to your numbers. I would expect if the boats are the source, you kind of expect it to start up sometime right after Memorial Day, whenever most of the boats arrive, and have it continue to be
Labor Day.
high right through Labor Day.
hold that thought. Next slide.
Two of these
What
are,
about like,
two of these are
if the
both
tide's
are-
going out, would that change the result?
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
Right.
So do you record when the tests are done, high tide, low tide?
Yeah, I think, you figure that, there's going to be a random sampling and that you're going to get some highs, some lows,
Yeah,
But when we sample, because I've been a sampler, I'm not currently, but you have to write down the
Yes.
tide, the rainfall conditions, things like that. You
Right.
describe it. So it's in the data,
It's in the data.
if you can read, but I don't know if they entered it into the database.
I think
Well-
it'd be useful if all these people who are sampling would get together and sample at least on the same tidal cycles.
yeah.
That changes the whole paradigm, because the paradigm was this day of the month in the whole country, we sample, right? So that's just the way it was set up.
Sampled or.
Well, if you
But that
what the
doesn't,
If you
conditions
get
were
the
in each
additional
place.
information, it does give you the ability to see trends
Yeah.
in your sampling,
You
so.
can see it.
Yeah.
We just
So this-
haven't really used that data to its fullest, extent, I think.
so looking at 2024, it's the yellow lines there. And there we have 5 out of the 9 samples were over the threshold. And unlike in 2021, they are spread through the season. So it's curious why it wasn't in 2021 spread throughout the season. I would agree with you. That's a little unusual, but that's what the data shows. So then looking at the next slide, please. This is from 2024, and I'm really sorry I didn't make this bigger. But if you look at the 4 up arrows, the first one is Long Wharf North. So we have that long skinny pier that goes out there, Long Wharf, and there's transient docks there that were really built out, and they have a lot more boats out there now than they did like 2-3 years ago. And the little red dip, you can see there's red down there. So that's the human amount of Enterococcus with the microbial source tracking from Chris Gobler's lab.
Is this also Surfrider data?
No, this is Grobler.
This is Goldberg, so he's.
All of these
Oh,
bar graphs are all Grobler data.
This is a microbial source tracking.
Yeah, because he can tell it's fecal, he can tell it's fecal human.
What is the green in that?
The green is dogs, small mammals, and then somebody, when I showed them this, they said, oh, does that include seals? Because we have a lot of seals out there.
Ruminants.
Related to dogs.
Yeah, they're small mammals, or not so small mammals, right?
Yeah, and then ruminants are a different test too, so.
Yeah, the deer, it's different.
Surprised if dogs are a culprit here.
Dogs are
So-
small
What I've-
mammals.
Yeah, they walk their
As
dogs on
many
the
dogs
docks
as
and
people
stuff.
in the East End, and they don't use sanitary conditions.
So the thing that's interesting, I find, is that those red spikes, I mean, there's a little baby spike on the very last one, and that was October, but the other ones that are pretty sizable, those were all from August 21st. Whether or not it was Long Wharf North, Medium South, or Windmill Beach. So sort of to your point of when you have the most boats out there, potentially. So next slide. So now we look,
But even then, they were not what you could describe as a significant contributor.
Well, relative to what you're looking at,
Well, relative to the rest of the,
right,
Okay.
contribution.
right. So one of the people I'd like to talk to, I don't know if you all know her, is Nancy Pearson at Suffolk County Department of Health. Because I'd really like to understand a little bit more about what happens, when you get some kind of, problem secondary to enterococcus, exposure. And I think a lot of times, maybe people don't get that stomach ache or the squirts or they're not throwing up until 24 hours later or 12 hours later and they're home and they don't connect it to where they were swimming. I don't know, but I'd like to talk to somebody who, spends her life looking at that kind of question. This is on the other side of it. This is from 2021 sampling, and this is the sewage treatment plant. So you can see the little level there where the swimmers at 104, whatever it is, per 100 mils. And that was not very complimentary, right? This is our sewage treatment plant. We don't like that. We have out of the 11 samples, we have 4 of them that are over that threshold and 2 of them are greatly over that threshold. But then we come to 2023, next slide. And it's a whole different game. So I said, gee, is this when they put the UV lights in? Because that's the last step of the work at the sewage treatment plant. By then the effluent is clear water and they can give it, zap it with UV light. And I talked to Aidan Korish, who's got a up close, he's a trustee and he's got a strong relationship with the sewage treatment plant. He said, no, but they really started to understand better how you have to maintain those UV lights and how they have to be cleaned in order to be effective. So I hope that that's something that they do all the time, but that is a great picture.
How do they sample this? Do they take the cover off of the tank and dip something in, or?
No,
Or is it a full pipe?
Probably the
Yeah,
opposite.
just like
Yes,
take it
yeah,
from the
fall
same
pipe.
spot.
They probably have a built-in testing.
you want to take a tour of the sewage treatment plant? It's pretty interesting.
I would, yeah.
But yeah, let me know.
I'll let you know.
Because you can see where it's going through the UV lights, and then you can grab a sample right there, and that's what they did.
Because I looked at the Springs IA system at the Springs School,
Yeah,
and it was really interesting. And the person who manages it, he was a sewer plant operator, and he was explaining what kind of controls they have in a sewer plant that he didn't have at the school.
yeah,
If I'd like to see it.
yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I keep my boat right off the sewage treatment plant on a mooring there. And July through September on a warm day, it smells.
Oh, it's
and the
terrible.
water's cloudy. And we're always seeing these big yachts right there. And we're they're paying all this to be in this smell and to see this. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I don't know if I'm naive, but they say that they're getting new technology that's going to help with the smell. Because the smell, I sailed
It's hard to
in it.
believe it's not putting, pollutants into the water.
Okay, hey, Mary Ann, do you have the same slide for 23 or for 24?
That is
rather?
23, no.
For 24.
Well, there's kind of a limit to how much we can do, so I went, well, we have success, so then we focus somewhere else. We did not sample it last year.
Okay, so it just seems like, the results are sort of scattered. I would have thought you would have followed up on 24 and just checked to see if 23 was a one-off.
I hope that 21 was the one-off, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, exactly. No, I don't have that.
What?
Get your wallet
But
out.
I really,
Yeah, well-
to your point, I would really like you to go through the sewage treatment
Yeah,
plant.
I would be up for that.
Because it really turns your mind around a bit about what goes on there and what leaves the plant, and I left there with a great deal of confidence. So, next slide. So this probably should have been an earlier slide, but you can see the 2 stars. The big star on the right, that's the sewage treatment plant. It's right there between the Breakwater Yacht Club and the Sag Harbor Yacht Club and the Sag Harbor Yacht Yard, but it's all the way to the east. And then you have Long Wharf, which is the big white, flat piece there. And then the smaller star, that's Windmill Beach. And then the oval that I drew in it, that's where the transient docks are. So, and those have really been built out a lot in the last couple of years, many more boats there than there were before.
Are there requirements for, pump out or Y valves, at least on the wharf for the transients? Are there
Yeah.
requirements?
Yeah, but I don't, well, I hear a couple of things. One, a lot of boats, you can clearly see where the Y valve is, and sometimes the Y valve is buried down inside the guts of the boat, so you'd have to board the boat and blah, 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 and, it's not so easy, but I don't know so much.
Yeah, they should have signage though on the docks there.
Absolutely, we should have signage on it, and my idea too is, everybody, maybe this is true for you too. If you want a reservation, you have to go through DocWalk, right? And when you get your confirmation back, I wonder if there's a place where we can put a message on it, just saying, very important. We
Strictly-
have like a Y valve
Strictly enforced.
strictly enforced, and somebody suggested that if you get, nabbed more than once or twice, you will not get another reservation.
Oh, definitely.
I'm not making the rules, but I mean, it should be progressive and,
Yeah, and say, call channel 73 for pump out.
yeah,
Tony will be right over there.
yeah. So, okay, so then just changing this channel for a little bit. So we talked about where we sampled the marine, the beaches. Then we also went up and we looked at the storm drains that were feeding those beaches. So, next slide. So again, it's like we have three major areas. We have Redwood in the Coves, we have Windmill Beach and Long Wharf, and then we have the complex over there in Havens Beach, which includes that one outfall pipe at Cor Maria. So the next slide.
Can I just ask, when you're talking about the stormwater runoff, are those basins or is that the incline of the land? Is it the lay of the land?
It's a storm drain.
It's a storm drain. So when you look at the lay of the land, that's why the water is flowing a certain way. Do we know how much capacity those storm drains have, and does it align with?
They don't stop there. They all have pipes that go to the beach, unfortunately.
Yeah, because the stormwater runoff is, I think, a really bad problem in our area.
I agree with you.
And we don't know how to deal with it because we can't estimate. You get one bad storm and you get a torrential amount of runoff and your basins are filled. Plus the amount of maintenance on them, having to make sure they're clean and they're operating. I don't know if we do that right.
Well, so skipping, can I come back to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a really big question. So here, just looking at it, you can see that Amherst is like the westernmost side of Redwood Island. Okay, and it looks really pure here, but that just looking at the storm drain. If you look at the beach, it is not so pure, and that's because Princeton, which is the lighter red and the yellow, there are storm drains that come down there, and then there is this big pipe that tunnels through a hill and empties onto Amherst Beach. So it's actually being collected on Princeton. And then over here, you can see Havens Beach. So I'll talk about that a little later, but the other thing is you have Windmill Beach. So Windmill Beach has, of course, all the water from, the coves and whatever, but it also has a huge pipe that comes down all the way from the library, which is the top of the hill. It comes down and all the storm drains through Sag Harbor Village all empty into this storm drain.
That's the green? That's the green?
It's the dark green. Right. And so what we do is there is a manhole. I've never seen this before. There's a manhole and DPW comes along with this huge magnet. Have you seen this? This huge magnet. They put it on top of the cover to the manhole and they can just like lift it off. And then they put down a cup and I grab a couple of tubes and then Stony Brook picks it up and they take it. So we were sampling that.
I'd like to see that.
You're invited. So we sampled that and we found that not only has a lot of enterococcus in it, it's got a lot of nitrogen in it. And this is the total nitrogen. And you can see like the big, next slide, sorry.
Are all these storm drains that you're looking at in these various places sort of the one that's closest to the water, so it's got the most flow
Yeah.
from upland.
Except for Princeton, but Princeton has that conduit, that pipe that shoots it out to Amherst Road Beach. So it's kind of, you have to kind of know that, otherwise you just think it's off there in the middle of Redwood, but it collects the water there and then it directs it out.
So I'm assuming the nitrogen is from fertilizer, a big component would be, because it's coming from the runoff, it's not coming from the groundwater,
Right.
right? So, I mean, anytime we can get people to put down less fertilizer and irrigation,
Right.
that would be helpful.
And I think it's like, the dog poop, the goose poop.
Yep.
All the poop that gets washed away in the storm drains contributes to the nitrogen. So, looking at Havens Beach, next slide. We sampled the sump, that ditch in the middle, east, west, mid. And this is 2024. Next slide. And then the next slide is 2022. And the thing that's interesting, I find in this one, is the heavy blue over there is the big pipe that's like this big around, and it's all the pipes that come down through the residential area, and it empties at the head of that sump, that ditch. And we went there, we didn't get it in the ditch, in the water, we captured it right there where it's coming out of the pipe. So I think that's a strong argument for a lot of the contamination that we see at Havens Beach is not local to Havens Beach per se. It is coming from the residential neighborhoods that are upland. And the next slide. So the feeding pipe, which is the far left, the gold, the yellow, that's the dog and the small mammals. So it's really coming a lot from those residents up there between 114 and Havens Beach. Next slide. So these are the recommendations that we got. Nitrogen, main source of nutrients. We've just been talking about that. So what are we doing? The wastewater from the on-site septic systems, primarily source of nitrogen in Sag Harbor and Sag Harbor Cove. So we are, part of the reason that we did those storm drains is to try to figure out where it was coming, landward of the beaches, to try to figure out how we would try to do an outreach program and prioritize different areas. So I think I'll tell you about that in another slide. Upgrade the septic systems or connecting homes to the sewage treatment plant. And I can't believe it, but they actually broke ground.
What are areas L and K? Are they areas with the sections of Sarah Road?
Yeah, so it goes alphabetically. It's the only way I can remember it. So it goes from left to right or from west to east. So it's area L is Southampton and K is East Hampton. And there's going to be about 40 homes in Southampton and another 20-ish in East Hampton for a total between 64 and 68 homes that are going to be able to connect to the this sewer system and the sewer treatment
Where is
plant.
that geographically in the village?
Right next to the water.
Yeah, it's off Bay Street.
Yeah, it's along Bay Street.
It's off Bay Street.
And
Yeah.
they're not in the sewer system right now?
The only thing that's on the sewer system is the commercial businesses on Main Street, all the restaurants.
So the residence is close to, like, the Bay Street area, close to,
No sewers. They have septic systems, and I have a friend there, she put in an IA system in, and during high tide, she couldn't flush her toilet, and she certainly couldn't do her laundry.
Since the IA system.
No, before. Yeah, because there was so much backflow pressure on the groundwater. So I think we're doing it, take care of a
It
lot of that
floods
problem.
there. It floods really bad on Bay Street.
It is really bad. We have, septic systems that are sitting in groundwater.
Yeah.
So, again, it's like, one small bite at that elephant, but I really salute Aiden Korsh and the people that have been behind this the whole time. So So we're doing L and we're doing K. And then looking ahead, there's another area that goes beyond May Street right now. The sewer goes up to the church. Actually, it went as far as Il Cappuccino, and then the church, the museum, the gallery, they paid like $1 million to have that 40 feet of sewer pipe extended so that they could connect to it.
Good,
Yeah,
that's the best thing.
right. And that was out of their pocket, right? But what the next step is going to be is continuing that sewer pipe all the way down to the residences around Otter Pond.
You know, in Stony Brook at the university, they have a sewer system, but there's no plant. So they have a pipe that brings it to Port Jefferson, which is quite a distance, and brings it there. It's a pretty far distance to get to the actual septic plant.
10 miles or something more?
Pardon?
How much far, like 10 miles?
Oh, miles, yeah. No, it's not, I don't know how many miles it is, but it's miles. And that's the way they're handling it, making their central plant. And because the university had it for years, but it wasn't sufficient for the surrounding areas.
So there's some people who talk about having regional systems. So there was some like, pie in the sky, but it always starts out as pie in the sky, having something there at the airport that could, do where all the ponds are, Sag Pond, Georgica Pond, all that side of
Yeah.
East Hampton, plus Sag Harbor, not in my lifetime probably, but
I think septic systems sewer systems can be configured so that they'll accept stormwater runoff to a certain capacity.
yeah,
And that's a benefit.
I don't think there's any talk about doing that here.
Anyway, moving on.
Moving
With
on.
the extension of the sewer system, you're gonna have to upgrade the treatment plant? Or
No.
can it handle it?
It runs at 60, it's about 60% capacity right now.
Okay.
So both L and K and the idea of extending down Main Street is all capable of being
Are they doing a
managed by
study
the.
to like maybe move the plant somewhere?
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Well,
So,
I
A few
think,
years ago? So
I think-
that's-
I think
There was-
Mary Ann brought this
Yeah.
concept to us last year.
that's my dream, can we hike this thing up the
Mary
road,
Ann's
put it by the golf course and do the same thing they did in Riverhead, right? Where Riverhead, the sewer treatment plant like Waters Indian Island Golf Course, perfect, yeah, but yeah.
It's at the lowest point of gravity, that's why, right? It's just, everything flows down to the plant.
Right now.
Right now.
And
Yeah,
Riverhead
right now.
is, yeah. In Sag Harbor, it'll be the opposite.
Exactly, but they make pumps, right? So like pump it uphill. All right, next slide. I know you're getting tired. I'm getting tired too. Anyway, $17 million to do L and K and to do a master sewer plan. And it mostly came from the CPFs. Okay, so this is what I want to do next. We have sort of tested and tested. I think we can figure out where our priorities areas are. And this is something that they're doing in Southampton, November 22nd, 2 p.m. It's starting to try to reach out to people about getting up close and personal with an IA system and thinking about how you do it. So they're doing this, and Gobler's there, Tom Varley, Lynn Arthur, Ann Welker, and they actually have people and actual systems like the Fuji system and the Hydro Action system that they're going to have out in front of the Southampton Cultural Center. So that's the kind of thing I'd like to follow on their coattails and do that kind of thing. And it's by looking here where we have to determine where the priority areas are. And I think there's also some kind of contagion. When you have a couple on a block, it's easier to get the next one on the block.
Yeah.
So looking at, and I understand East Hampton or Southampton has this, where they have these GIS layers where they actually have their IA systems plotted, so we can actually see where they are. And I've talked to Suffolk County. They have a whole list of everybody who's ever applied for an IA system grant, and all the people, there are about 50 people on the waiting list. And that's the low-hanging fruit, right? They were interested enough at one time to get it together to make an application to Suffolk County, and it's probably very out of date right now. But I think it'd be going back to those people and getting them excited, because sooner or later Suffolk County is gonna, have their application process together.
Southampton is doing a big job at Lake Agawam.
Yes.
And that should be interesting.
This is the Lake Agawam
Yeah.
Conservancy.
But it's similar to what you're doing. I think it's great that you have mapped out the flow of the conduits and, in the village, and you know where it's going. They're doing a really good job back out there, like you. So they're a good partner for you.
I think they're doing a better job than I am, but I like listening to what they do because they have paid staff.
Yeah.
I'm not paid staff, right? So I just try to figure out what they're doing. So Wednesday night, they're going to have the Havens Beach watershed study. This has been cooking for like 5 years. We got money from New York State to really look at this watershed, because this is my idea 5 years ago. It's like, we don't want to solve the problem at the beach. Let's solve the problem going up towards 114. Let's grab the pollution there before it all is a problem down below. So this is a study, and they're going to formally name the people to the committee, and then we just have to keep it moving and get that studied and really get some answers to where the pollution is coming from that ends up on Havens Beach. Because a lot of it, as you saw, is coming from that pipe. It's not so much the dog park. Yeah, maybe some, but it's not the whole answer. So, and then I want to really work on some kind of outreach for the Y valve problem. And next slide. And next slide. So this is a history of your donations, and I'm very thankful for the fact that you consistently support this effort. So you started off in 2018, $5,000, did that a couple of times. Last year you gave $3,000. I'd be very grateful for $3,000, and I'd be over the moon if you had anything more. One of our big donors is sort of repositioning some of their philanthropy, so I have to hustle some new sources. Anyway, any other questions? Anybody want to sign up for a tour of the sewage treatment plant?
Sure, yeah, I would.
Yeah? How do we do
Get
that?
you can get my email through just the office.
Okay,
Or, they'll send out an email, we'll see who else can get on board.
okay.
Yes.
I'll do that for
That'd be nice.
sure.
Thanks,
It's
Mary.
really interesting.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
nice.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Marion.
Okay. Joan, would you like to address the board?
Actually, here on what is it, West End Road, just in case there are questions of the committee.
Okay.
I can wait.
Is that on the agenda?
That was very interesting, by the way.
Yeah, we'll just do it now real quick.
Yeah, it's here.
I don't think we're gonna make a decision tonight.
I didn't think we had anybody here.
We're gonna, yeah, but we'll just take it. So we'll just hear it.
No, we've got somebody here behind the.
Do we have them?
So let's just hear, yeah, we'd love to hear we've already seen it, but.
The ZBA approved the,
Well, we have to go to the microphone. You have to go to the podium.
John, you beat me to the chase.
the ZBA approved the proposal with the buffer zone by Grimes Landscaping. I have extra copies if anyone wants them.
Yeah, let's just take a peek.
Yeah. And there was a plan to cut the Phragmites.
Did you want
Sorry, my copier was not cooperating on the large copies.
There's a few more. Is anybody?
Yeah. I'll start. It's Joan McGivern from Toomey Latham. Sorry about that.
You want one?
We'll share. We'll share the receipt.
And I really came tonight just to see if there were any questions of the committee.
So when is the cutting does the cutting start this season?
That's the hope,
Okay, so the goal would be to start cutting,
this season and plant in the spring.
okay.
And I should probably have Mr. Grimes.
No, actually, you won't. I'm recusing myself from this,
Okay.
so I'm not the presenter here. Joan.
Okay.
You are.
So what permits does this have now? What permits are existing now?
The DEC and wetlands permit and the ZBA,
Village CBA?
yeah. And I sent a copy of the ZBA decision to you.
So then so the cutting this fall and then planting in the summer, like native species, Spartina, hibiscus. And then then there's like a follow-up yearly cutback for the Phragmites, like is it
Until the native vegetation takes hold.
It's a 5-year.
5-year?
It's a 5-year.
It's probably, that's my understanding.
Yeah, some of this stuff becomes like as necessary, you know?
Do you need to do temporary irrigation too in there? What's the planning doing?
So, this sounds like one of the projects we have no trouble approving, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Somebody wanna,
So is this something you committee is going to bring for a vote or?
Yeah, sure. So could we give like a 1 year or just like we'll give a 3-year or it's a 5-year project?
What's the term you're getting approvals from?
Well, Billy Hayjack wanted us to come back in a year to make sure it's on track.
yes,
Yeah, so I make a motion to okay a 1 year, this 1 year proposal for cutting back Phragmites and planting the native vegetation.
yeah, and basically acknowledging that if everything's going okay, it's gonna be a 5-year permit.
Right.
Would anyone be opposed to just the 5-year permit with annual reports?
Sure, it's fine.
Not at all. That's fine.
Annual report, it's a condition,
Yeah.
DEC and the village.
Annual reports from the contractor?
From the contract,
DEC?
well, it would
The
be-
representative
typically it would be
of
the owner's agent.
Okay, so I make a motion to okay the proposal based on an annual report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Bill seconded.
I did.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I actually enjoyed that presentation. Quite educational.
Got a lot of other exciting stuff on the agenda.
Nice to see you all.
All right. New business, 2025 Fall Cornell Bottom Survey as part of the South Fork Wind Farm Fisheries Study. You doing that, John?
Yes. If I can find it. Let's see if this is it. No, it's not it. Sorry.
I was really impressed right up to that point, John.
I had this under control.
It's like, wow, man, this is great.
Is this the bulldog?
This is the bulldog. This is not doing it, is it?
Share, right?
There it is, right. Okay. All right, hold on. I think I got it. There you go.
Yeah, it's okay, it
Oh,
streamlines the
no,
whole
it is.
meeting.
It is. All right. So there it is. So Cornell Cooperative Extension has announced their fall trawl survey. It's going to take place between November 17th and 23rd. the survey will take place basically from Montauk Point to Moriches Inlet, as we've seen in past surveys. They would appreciate if fishermen, especially fixed gear fishermen, could check in with the Alex Mercado at Cornell to inform Cornell of the location of their gear within the survey area. And then boats fishing can also notify the survey vessel, the fishing vessel Bulldog, on VHF channel 13 or 16, and speak either with the captain of the boat or the Cornell scientist, Tara McClintock, who will be on board. So this notice will be on our website. Again, it's between November 17th and 23rd. It'll be taking place. Okay. That's it.
And John, when do they publish the results on it?
Well, they're really not going to publish the results until the whole study is completed, all the
Oh,
data.
they don't do
taking.
incremental.
Did the first
They
year.
did, they gave us a presentation last year, I think it was, in the fall maybe, and gave us some, general idea of what they've been finding, but not really analyzed. So the analysis will take place when all the data is collected, and they'll put out a report, and then we'll get a full report.
Thanks, John. Move on to water quality, permeable reactive barrier legislation.
Ancient highway.
Highway shed removal.
Oh, I'm sorry, we have to go back to old business. Okay,
Yeah, I have one update for old business too.
okay. Ancient highway shed removal.
We got an estimate to remove the shed and dispose of it. The shed is now open. The lock has been broken, so the shed is full of material completely to the rafters.
What kind of material?
I was there too. It's like cushions and old chairs and mail. It's just like a big rat's
Mail?
nest.
Mail?
Yeah, there's some bags of looks like mail or papers or something. It's just a mess, yeah.
So we've notified people in the vicinity that this will be taking place within a couple of weeks. So they have notice in case they have any interest in that shed.
If they want to get their mail.
And the estimate is for $2,500.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve the estimate.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
John, what happened with the tree? The trigger was the tree.
Well, the tree, we're getting a couple of estimates on the removal of the tree. But that can't really happen until the shed's gone, so.
So there was the tree, the trailer, and the sign which
Well, I
said
think,
private.
I haven't addressed the trailer. The trailer looks to belong to somebody, and that's where they park it.
Right.
Does it
So
have plates on it?
I didn't really look that closely. So we could go down there and look and see if we can so there's identification on the trailer, and then find out
Doesn't
who
have plates
belongs.
on it, it's litter.
Yeah,
Did we make inquiries with the police or anything?
No, I haven't dealt with the trailer.
Well, the thing with the police is if it's on our property, it's really a civil matter.
right.
Yeah.
And if there's no plates on it, if we can't identify it, then we could possibly get rid of it.
Consider it litter.
Well, I think we probably would want to post a warning on it, give them a time, whoever it is, before we just haul it off, like we do the kayaks. Just my feeling.
So let's get this done and then we'll investigate the trail while we're at it. All right.
I wanted to give you
Something
all
also, yeah.
business update on the PEP, the bulkhead removal project. They decided they can't do it. The state had a lot of objections to both sites, the Southold site and our site at the fish factory. So it's off the table.
Okay.
Thanks.
And that's a surprise.
All right, we'll go back to permeable reactive barriers legislation. Or is that?
I forget why I put this on the agenda. Well, we discussed this at the last meeting at some length. Is this the one where there's a... Well, yeah, that's right. And this is, I don't know if I have this on the screen share or not, but there's the deadline for comments, if I recall correctly, has passed. But recently there was I think this might be it, an email that went out about a meeting.
The county meeting?
Yeah, this is the stakeholder meeting to review the proposed sanitary code amendments that address the installation of permanent reactive barriers on Thursday, 10:30. I think I'm pretty sure I sent everybody, forwarded the email to everybody, and there's a Zoom link on there, so you can attend that meeting by Zoom if you want to. And I'm not sure if they've extended the date for comments. This is something we discussed, and I think that Jen had sort of a general consensus that we felt that was a little bit of overreach to codify, the installation of permanent reactive barriers and make all these requirements, which would, probably discourage people from pursuing this. And most of this assessment of the permeable reactive barriers is being done already anyway by the only people that are installing these things. So seems to be a little bit of overkill here. And so if anybody's interested in listening to this meeting and if there's an additional opportunity to comment and we want to put in our 2 cents, we can. So
This is Friday morning.
Thursday.
I think it's Thursday.
Friday.
No, 14th is Friday.
Friday.
What time?
10:30.
10:30?
I sent you an
Send me the
email.
link.
I sent everybody.
Are any permeable reactive barriers proposed out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's several.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to voice our opinion that we are in favor of making it more, accessible for PRBs for the public, instead of making it more difficult.
I think the town was going to install one in the Sokites area, right? I don't know. Did that ever happen?
I think they did.
No, I don't think no, there's one, there is one over by the trailer park on the
that was
3
the
Mile
area.
Harbor Road side. There's a big one there. It's, they sunk sort of cylinders into the ground and they're filled with
Town land?
oil.
Town property?
No, it's right on the edge of that trailer park.
Oh, the trailer park property.
Yeah. The end of that, I don't forget what that little road is called there by
Gardner Cove Road?
Blend. I'm not sure, yeah, it might be.
That road? It's down at Sokites Road.
By the
not on
Blend, the
Stoke.
road that goes by the Blend restaurant, there's cottages on one side and the Blend
Gardner Cove
restaurant
Road.
on the other side.
Gardner Cove Road.
It's down that road. There's a big piece of town property down there on the water.
So there are about 4 of them, right? There's that one, there's one by Sokites, Or,
That is SoCon's.
that is okay, okay. Then there's one at the Springs General Store, so that's 3.
There's the one up north of Harbor Marina. And
Hog Creek, is there one?
No,
There was one in Hog Creek. Yeah.
you need a,
no, I think they're looking at sites now in Hog Creek. I
Yeah.
think they've done a lot of preliminary work on finding out where the nitrogen loads are coming in. And they're doing some site work about where I think 2 or 3 barriers can be installed.
I mean, most of these are not on private property, they're on public property.
they
Well,
can be on both.
no,
They
not
can be.
really. Springs General Store is private. The one north of Harbor Marina is private.
I think Springs General Store is private.
Yeah, they're talking about doing one over by Babinski's farm there, trying to get some support on that.
Gobler's doing some preliminary
Georgia.
work on the
Friends of
newly
Georgia.
purchased property from the town,
But you need the permission of the property owner.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the Hog
Yeah.
Creek one, the most ideal spot might not be permissible to the owner.
right? Most might not be, but they're gonna tie, site to
Yeah,
a source of nitrogen.
All right. DEC Water Resource Plan?
Yeah, well, that's actually
like a
not
book.
called that, but
Oh, that's what's written here.
I know, it's because I didn't know what it was called until
I started to look through it.
I think this is it.
You're talking about the new watershed plan?
No, it's,
Something else?
it's like a hierarchy of things to do.
Uh-huh,
It's more of like a primer.
uh-huh.
That's how the bits I read of it were like their opinion about things.
I don't think I have a thing on this. I think I sent out an email.
You did,
on
yeah.
that too, to everybody. So, you'll have to look at that.
It's worth browsing through.
Again, I only sent this and put this on the agenda because I thought this might be another one of those instances where, the DEC is making up, not making up, but, going to set some standards that may affect the trustees and what the trustees' plans might be for work being done in the harbors.
I think you're right.
And I think that would be worthwhile taking a look at it.
It seems like if that gets endorsed, that will be like the roadway you follow. These are the things you do. And
There it is, I got it. I don't know if it's worth, let me just show you what it looks like, so. Where is it? I don't know where it is. It didn't show up on my screen. Oh, yeah. It's called the Long Island Watershed Program. This is an offshoot of the Long Island Nitrogen Action Plan that was instituted by the DEC, and that the one of the projects that this Long Island Nitrogen Action Plan undertook was a study of whether you could improve water quality in one water body by linking it to another water body that's cleaner. So they looked at different ways of doing it, cutting a channel between them, putting a pipe between them, pumping water between them. And basically, to make a long story short, the conclusion was that it didn't work. You couldn't clean up the body of water by linking it to another body of water.
I don't know how you can make a blanket statement like that.
Well, they did a study. and
When,
there's
yeah,
all
but you
sorts
know,
of
I remember reading
ways they're
pieces of the study.
justifying.
And the thing is, the research that they did demonstrating the lack of effectiveness on this were these small projects, which were quite honestly half-baked to start with. And it's not research, but the hard fact is 3 Mile Harbor, Lake Montauk, Napeague Harbor had major dredging projects performed in them way back in the 40s and 50s, okay? And the longevity benefit, the long-term benefits of that were played out in many years of robust scallop yields, good other shellfish. And what always troubles me is when an organization, whether it's the DEC or whatever, that comes up with sort of an action plan like this, that validates them doing nothing, okay? That's the problem I have with this is, we're trying to come up with research to substantiate the fact that we really don't want to do anything to begin with. And it's a little bit troubling because a lot of it's based on what might be quasi-research or research that isn't in scale with like the real problems there. So
When do they want feedback on this?
I don't know. You'll have to look at the email.
Yeah, because I think it's important. I even though it's, we might not agree with it, but I think we need to let them know what our thoughts are about it. Because I looked at it and I thought it could be very constraining to us.
Well, it certainly would be, yeah.
Well, the other thing that I noticed, and I thought I highlighted it here.
And actually, it would be constraining to what your next thing on the agenda here.
Well, that's why I brought it up, because when we had the meeting for the Napeague East Inlet a few years ago, with a whole bunch of, people from DC, USGS, Department of State, PEP. There was a perception, I realized, that our primary interest in opening up the East Inlet had to do with water quality. And I mean, luckily they asked me to give a brief introductory thing, and luckily I kind of focused on the the erosion problems and the erosion problems to the west, and how it seems to have been caused by the size of the inlet, the West Inlet, and that would be sort of a major component of any interest in opening the East Inlet. So, but similarly, not really similarly, but this project here, I can't find it here, but it was developed by, it wasn't developed with the input of, local government.
Right.
And it's going to be imposed on local government. And I think that's something we should be aware of what it says and speak up if we have any concerns about it.
So when we go back to the watershed plan, with the waterfront plan, the plans that we have on the town website, that was done with all of us, like giving input about what was wrong in this area, what needed attention. This is like bolt on, it's like it's coming from above, and it makes me a little like I want to comment on this one.
Hey, John, can you scroll to the map that shows the impaired water bodies?
You know what it looks like?
Yeah.
Tell me when to stop. This one?
There.
Well, Well, I mean, this is not news to us. I mean, this is a distillation of Ms. Gobler's studies over the last 10 years. So that's all I have to say.
All right, well, we should, you sent it to
I
everybody?
sent it to everybody.
Okay, so let's take a look at it and then continue this conversation. Update on blue-green algae?
Okay, so this one I know where it is. So we got two more samples. And it's climbing. So it was 5:15 on October 29th and 6:11 on November 6th. And that corresponds to 4:54 and 3:40 in similar days last year. So it's been on the rise. So we'll see what it does as the weather now seems to be, more seriously cooling off, or at least it will be tonight. But they've been doing this every week. I believe they'll be doing this into December.
We have water bodies that approach the baseline.
What's that?
Do we have any water bodies that are at or close to the baseline, which is, I guess, 25 milligrams or 25?
Most water bodies are,
Really?
yeah.
So this is very much the outlier.
Well, like Fort Pond had some high days, but not too many, really.
Wow.
But yeah, Georgia, what is this called?
Wainscott.
Wainscott Pond is consistently high and has been for years.
It's its own little environment over there.
One thing is Wainscott Pond's a lot like Georgia Pond, except it's never
open.
So whatever runs in there, all
And
the
that-
sediments, all
There's a
the
history of
phosphorus,
Yeah.
all the phosphorus
The
is
phosphorus
just
of the
tied
pond.
up on the clay particles in
If
the
you
bottom
wanted
of the
to
pond.
clean that pond up, you'd have to probably dredge an awful lot of stuff out of the bottom.
No.
Spread it around the field.
Go
Pumpkins, yeah.
right back in the pond.
Again. All right, dredging, fresh pond dredging.
Allison, could you possibly bring up the picture? So I went to Fresh Pond to look at the kayak stickers. And then I went and I walked there. I walked through the stream, the Dream. It was fine. Then I went back a week later to see
At low tide.
if the stickers were still there. The kayaks were all there, but the water was so foul. It smelled really bad.
Shucks, sorry.
So here you can see between my two visits, which were about 7 days apart,
Okay, that's low tide.
it's low, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I went back many times and
High tide and
high tide, low tide.
Yeah.
What happened was, can you go to the next picture, please?
Yeah.
This is one, could you do the next one? Because this is something we can't look at. What happened was when the water came in, there's two stone jetties on either side of the Dream. And seems like it kind of makes the water go in there, brings the sand in, it dumps the sand in that little spot in the front. And then the water gets over it, but it can't get back. So it's, it's just,
Okay, question right now. I believe we still have a dredge permit that's
We
open.
do, but it has to be done by January 1st. The work has to be done by January 1st.
Okay.
really. So
So-
I went into the files and I looked to see, because, you mentioned there was a history here of this body of water. And I found this proposal that was written in 1994 by Jim McCaffrey and the trustees. It's the proposal, it's an action plan for this pond. And then I gave you all a copy of this, which corresponds
What
to,
that means.
pardon?
I don't know what that means. I
It's just,
saw
it
it.
corresponds to, he indicated
This is the
each one
only
of these
place
little
that you can
things,
do
what he was talking about.
Okay, here's the deal. Let's not exhaust this too much. We have an open dredging permit. It's still active right now. What John said is true. We need to do it before the 1st of January. Okay, but we have, over many years, we have dredged the Fresh Pond Dream. These other areas that are shown,
Right,
these other areas are not something that the DEC has ever issued permitting on.
right,
Okay, and they're not going to.
right.
Okay, but
But
to
he's not
basic-
saying to dredge up here.
to address what you observed, we really just need to go up past the public bathroom there and go to the point where essentially you hit, I want to say boggy, marshy bottom,
Yeah.
which that's the limit of our permit. We haven't done it in 4 years. So it's quite honestly, Patrice, it's time.
It's time. It's,
So-
because the water is like full of like iron. It looks orange.
That's not a bad thing. That's just tea water. That's just tannin. That is not a bad thing.
Which kind of
The other thing he mentions in this, the trustees mentioned in his plan, is those boulders, to get rid of them. And if we could use them somewhere else, wherever we wanted to,
Now,
like,
what boulders are we using?
That's like a revetment that's.
it's,
Yeah.
it's a revetment.
jetties.
And he's saying
Yeah,
in
the
this,
jetty.
in this report that those are not helping anything. In fact, they might be making it worse. So,
Okay,
that,
that isn't within the scope of this permit.
no.
What I would strongly suggest
No,
is that we
it's-
act
I
on what
just-
we have a permit
I'm just
for.
very impressed with the comprehensive nature of this proposal. And the trustees were saying, you can do one thing only, but you're not going to address the problem unless you do all these things, like get rid of the phragmites, which are because of the fresh waters coming in, revegetate, remove the boulders. And there's freshwater streams that are coming in on the,
North,
I guess the
north and west.
west side,
Northwest.
the high side of the pond. And he's saying, like, pull those off, because those are a source of bad stuff coming in the water there. And I was thinking, what about a permeable reactive barrier there instead of, he's saying, build a pond, but you could put a permeable reactive barrier there and kind of get rid of it that way. So I have to say, I think this is really good work. And
actually, the town, just to back that up, the town actually did a fair amount of investigative work to find out where some of the like sort of off-site sources of bacteria and stuff are. And one of them was fairly close to the pond, but surprisingly upland of the pond that they had identified as a significant contributor there. But I think for tonight's discussion and given the timeliness of this, does anybody want to make a motion that we put together a package, put it out for pricing, and we can get that dredging going now?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
All in favor? So,
Going back to Georgica Pond, Talmadge Creek comes into Georgica Pond where you pull over there.
Mhm.
I wonder about that water.
That's all being handled.
There's PRB there.
What do you call it?
There's PRB there, but
The
in fact, that's
town-
the one they're incorporating
Yeah, the town and the state and the
charcoal
county have been
to pull
working
out the
for a long-term
PFAS.
thing there.
Yeah,
That's-
because it's
That's actually been designed
good.
and I think it's
They've done
might
work
even
there.
be
They've,
permitted.
they've
this
cleaned
point.
out, they've
to get
cleaned
the-
out all the,
Because there are good places for us to use
drains and
PRVs.
stuff. and
There is
replaced them
another
all.
Yeah.
discussion for over on the west side of Georgia Pond.
That's probably where this is.
Down by the
This is in
association.
Talmadge
right?
Creek.
Down by the association beach, right? Yeah, I think it is.
It would actually be connecting up to like the Lewinsky property.
That's the one that they're trying to intercept the.
Yeah, but again, that's gonna require, sort of, property owner
Yeah.
Yeah,
acquiescence at the very least. And- But yeah, we discussed that at the Georgia Pond Steering Committee. Did you go to those?
Mhm.
Okay, that was discussed at the last one. All right,
but I like the idea of repurposing those boulders if we should need them for another project.
That's a massive permitting
Yeah,
undertaking.
we don't even know how they got there.
Does anybody know how they were built?
1950.
There we go. When? By who?
All those revetments were put, the jetties were put in I think it was the 1950s.
Wow.
The ones in front of town property were done by the town.
They were built by the town? Wow.
They were probably put in there to secure the beaches.
The erosion, it was erosion control. They used groins in those days.
When did Dr. Bell make the deal and get the private beach in exchange for the fresh pond area? Was that before that?
I think it was before that. I think that goes back maybe as far as the 1930s. I have the information, I just don't have it with me.
So, but anyhow, so we're gonna,
I did get some feedback from some of the fishermen at Accabonac the last weekend. Two boats had their rotors broken because it was low tide. They had to get out of their boats and walk them.
talked to a couple guys.
Yeah,
Kim and I had a meeting a week ago. She was pushing the county. And we had an exchange as of Friday still on it.
Where's this?
This is for Accabonac.
Oh,
but would this be the county responsibility, or would this be like something we would do?
Well,
Because,
Depends on what you're talking about, so.
it may fall on us
yeah,
as an emergency thing to do a ground-based, a shore-based dredge, long reach excavator. Let's see if we can get something different.
good.
how long is that? That permit's still good for a little while, right?
Permit's still good. It's getting on the county schedule. It's the problem.
I mean, or if we had to do something, we're all ready to go, right?
I think there's still a permit in place there.
Scepter.
What?
We talked about the scepter.
But we don't have a permit for that, right?
We do.
They're not the permit holders on it.
But we have a permit to do
To
part,
do the tip.
We
to
do?
do the
Yeah.
tip, yes.
With the excavator.
Because I think that would help them a lot.
Okay.
And also to get the water out of the creek, we're going to be losing.
So you
a
know,
lot of-
there are two permits. The county has a permit to do the channel.
Right,
We have a permit to take off of that tip periodically.
right. That's what we need now.
That's the sand that we push down the beach further than the county does.
So I think the water is kind of getting stuck there, just like fresh
Well,
pond.
I was just there. I mean,
Yeah.
they're often,
Yeah.
and it seems like there's maybe 30 feet from the tip of the beach to that little island that's on the edge of the channel.
But that's why we got our own permit.
Right.
We got our own permit so we could
Well,
do
the
it.
county also, a few years ago, took that whole beach off.
But the county's, we have a permit that covers the same area as the county permit.
I mean, if we're going to sit and wait for the county to decide they're going to do it, and we still don't have a commitment from them,
No,
the channel's going to be cut off completely.
yeah. Can we
That's
make a motion
the purpose of the
to
permit.
put out for a bid on that?
I'm sorry?
Can we make a motion to put out for a bid on getting that part dredged?
We can make a motion for anything you'd like.
I think, though, the discussions with the county are going to have included, are they going to be able to go down and take that tip off significantly more than we would be able to do it with the excavator? So I think, I don't know, but.
Excavator's a temporary, it's a Band-Aid.
So if the county is going to come into Accobotic this year, and they are going to be able to go down and take that off, then there's no need to do the excavator. I think we just need to get a good discussion with the county and find out what they're willing to do this year or not, before we start.
We know the guy who puts together the schedule wants to put his schedule together in January. The guy that does the dredges. I don't know if we're on.
I think there are, as Jim said, I think Kim is speaking to the county and trying to get them, get more information from them and have a discussion with them about just what the Accobotic dredging is going to be this year.
They're not responding.
What do we do in the meantime? We just ask these guys to wait and we'll let them know.
Will our permit expire? No.
When does our permit not allow us to work? Do they know that?
I think the permit for the channel is 10 years, and we're like in year 4.
I mean, in a given year.
Yeah, what's
what's
the
window
window of the dredging window?
Yep.
I mean, it's the same for us as it is for the county, I guess.
So let's pull the permit, see what the conditions are, and follow up with, yet again, with the county. And if it is going to be on the schedule, not imminently, we can do it on our end. A land-based excavator go in there.
We hear a lot about the working waterfront. And in our town, the working waterfront is the mudflats, the embayments, and the beach. That's the working waterfront. And, these guys are really trying to work and seeing the struggle they had, taking their boats out of the water, getting them repaired, putting them back in. It was just kind of sad.
That's how they've done it for generations.
That's right.
That's why the next generation's not going to do it.
All right, Nappy Harbor dredging?
Okay, I think Arlene or Allison circulated with a proposal from Drew Bennett. I had a meeting a week ago with Drew Bennett, Kim Shaw. We've talked about it. We've tried to get firms involved in writing a plan and doing, permit application for Nappy Harbor. The consensus that came out of our meeting was that perhaps the best way to do this is to put together an action plan, submit it, knowing it's going to be deemed incomplete, but with the goal of getting direction from the agencies of what they want. Because, we've speculated on this literally for years. We have a proposal from Drew. There is no lump sum retainer. He'll bill us basically on as he spends time on this. But I'd like to make a motion that we approve this. I'd love to see this thing get going in a direction.
A second.
Okay.
Are we going to put a limit on it?
She gave us a proposal that sort of estimated 25 grand.
Okay.
I think realistically, that may be low, but I'd like to get started on something here.
Well, what is he going to do initially?
Well, he's going to come up with a rough schematic. There's quite a bit of legwork that's been done on this over the years. I mean, there's work that he can build from, is to put together a proposal and an application, fill out the application, get it into DEC, and try and get a reaction from them. Because one of the biggest impediments on this, and we have over the last few years, we've had 2 calls with DEC and some of the agencies that were about as unproductive as you could get, because you had people that weren't in the office, they were working from home. You could tell by the tone on the meeting, they were half interested in the discussion. And this is a real concern, it's a real problem. We've got Napeague Harbor, which is the cleanest saltwater body on Long Island, yet we can't reliably grow scallops in there when 40 years ago we could. What's changed in the ensuing 40 years? What's changed is some time ago, I think it's 30 some years ago, the decision was made that they wouldn't support 2 inlets anymore, okay? At the time, sort of the voice of the bayman said, well, if we can only have 1, cost of fuel is kind of high. The west one will make it cheaper for us to get out. Well, hey, listen, it was a decision that was made earnestly and honestly. In retrospect, it wasn't a very good decision. We've watched the quality of Napeague Harbor gradually decline, much like Lake Montauk over the years. And I think this is something that should be very important, very real to us, as Lake Montauk should be to the town. So I would like to get going on this. We've tried talking to several different companies, and you know what it is? I don't know whether the job's too big or too small or what the deal is, but we've had really a hard time getting somebody to show us real interest, and I think this is
Started up.
It's going to involve state property too, right?
It's going to involve state property. So I think, and this was our thoughts, as soon as we submit an application, we're going to get pushback, a little like we've gotten pushback at Little Northwest Creek. We're looking to modify that plan, and where that sits right now, the state came back and said, hey, wait a second, you want to basically dig through a dune, which we're calling our property. Okay, they didn't say you can't do it, but there's a whole new set of application documents that need to be submitted there.
Is that considered parkland at all?
Yes.
So it's got to be
We're expecting a similar situation here. But you know what? You don't know what hurdles you're going to have until you actually make an application.
You got to give them a plan. We'd like to do it here. And you know what?
So do we know, like, how much background reference data that exists that we could
There is
incorporate?
a slew, Patrice, of background data from maps that were done back in the 1800s, aerial photographs going back from, I think, the 30s forward. So there's quite a bit of information out there that's likely going to need to be organized, and this is going to be a long haul, fairly heavy lift, but I'd like to get started.
The town actually dredged that.
I have all the information.
East Channel.
There you go. Rick's got all the
Both inlets have
information.
this.
Okay, so.
Tell you when they were open, when they closed, all that sort of.
Do you remember when the town
Based on the
dredged the
sources
East
you mentioned.
Channel
Okay,
last
guys, I'm
time?
not really, you know what I'm looking for?
Danny
It
Shields.
wasn't the town.
We had a
It
second.
wasn't the town.
Vote now.
Make a motion.
Well, wait a
It was
minute.
the town.
Let's discuss.
What's the motion and a
Danny
second?
Shields started this dredging company.
Well,
It was all land.
The
based.
trustees actually, when that inlet closed, the trustees dug it out for a few years.
But it
So
was,
there is a bit of a precedent there for, digging through a closed beach.
well, in the last 2 times it was dug out, it was done with an excavator. It wasn't even done with an ornament excavator. And you know what the problem really is? It's like trying,
Shields did the last.
So
Yeah,
there's an offshore bar out there that's
yeah,
got
but
to
it's
get cut
trying
through.
to, it's literally like trying to dig the Erie Canal with a spoon. You need to approach this problem in the right kind of scale and scope to do it. So I would like to hire Drew Bennett's firm to design this, put an application package together, and try and move this along.
Now, the funding of this, I mean,
We're not even at that yet.
well, we're gonna have.
We are gonna be at it.
Yeah, well, where's it coming from?
Well, we've had this discussion ad infinitum. Okay, we've got money over the years that's gonna be coming in from the windmills, but you know what? 5 years ago, the PEM project, that individual showed some interest in participating financially on this. The fact that we are going to be messing with state parkland, I'm hoping a little Northwest Creek, that there may be some state monies available. And hopefully our relationship with our town board, they feel compelled to participate, perhaps using some of that windmill money and going through, this is not going to be something that the money is going to come from one source, okay? And if we're going to let the cost immediately deter you from moving forward on this, you know what?
That's not what I want to say.
It's not gonna happen.
We
That's
don't
not
know
what
the
I want to
price.
say. What I want to say is, we have money from Orsted. We have pledged to use that money for exactly these kind of environmental purposes. So why can't we say that we're going to use $25,000 from that to start?
That's fine.
That's right.
You know,
That's exactly right.
Okay, sorry, I'm sorry. I was anticipating you saying
No,
something else.
no, not at all.
Actually, just so we're clear, there is no separate Orsted fund out there.
yes, there is.
Is there?
Yes.
It sits in a separate account
Yes,
somewhere?
Yes.
Totally untouched?
Totally
I thought it was
untouched.
commingled with
No, the
our
first-
general.
We have a relationship with the Peconic Estuary
It's in the
Program
night class
Partnership.
account.
And they had money for the removal of the bulkhead at the fish factory, allegedly. So maybe there's some synergy here.
There might be. There might
Yeah,
be.
except the Peconic Estuary programs, when they embark on a project, it's their project. And I don't think, this is such a big project that it's not going to be, well, we'll do this, they'll do that, somebody else will come in. It's going to have to be sort of centralized.
I think it would be our project, but they may bring in some expertise from academia.
Well, they will. I'm afraid that expertise may not think kindly of this project, though. That's been the
That's the
message
other
that's
problem.
been received so far from the PEP.
But how
They're
could
concerned
they-
about eelgrass. They don't think water quality is an issue that needs to be addressed. There's been questions raised, skepticism expressed.
There's a lot of interest in the currents in that area, what's the impact of the currents?
Well, that's the recommendation that came out of their 2013 study, is to get more, to get a fairly serious study of, the dynamics of the shoreline there. Multi-$100,000 study. I'm afraid that,
And guys,
we're
we
basically
may
gonna
find
do this and then
ourselves, along the way here, facing that very thing. But you know what? We're not going to know that until.
Well, I think we do know that now. We know a lot of that, what has come out of that study and what the people who've done that study and the experts that they've consulted with feel that needs to be done next. And I think we're going to come around to there, but we're going to now make an application, spend a lot of money to, say this is what we want to do, and then have to come back and say, do all the studies.
We're not spending a lot of money.
It's an approach.
Someone has to take the leadership of this project. It's not going to be PEP. I think we're.
Well, I would say the other approach, and I'm not necessarily advocating one or the other, but the other approach is to go to probably the company in Florida that did a lot of the initial work and that did a lot of work to go to that meeting that we had a couple of years ago and put together some modeling and, some analysis of the conditions there and what they felt would happen in certain, scenarios, and do the work that is suggested in the PEP study. But it's going to be a multi-hundred thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think if we're going to go pursue this, we're going to have to do that anyway. I don't know which is the best way, is to go in and apply and then see what the DEC says, or try to, spend a lot of money to justify what we want to go to the DEC with and be able to defend it.
Well, the funding for the initial application, if we limit it to 25,000, no more, and we get the document that we could use to get feedback, because we want them to tell us what they need in addition to what we propose, then we're in a better position. With that in our hands, we can talk to anyone else who's interested in this, like PEP or Stony Brook or...
No, I think we should do the study Jim wants to do. I mean, because if somebody asks us, what do we want to do now, is we want to
Can I
open
tell
up
you,
the
guys,
East Channel. And
I've
where?
had conversation
And
after
we don't know.
conversation after conversation about this. And the biggest concern that's come out of it is PEP did that study. They produced a nice document. Okay, but PEP is very good at producing nice studies and nice documents, but not that effective at getting a project off the ground and built. And we're really talking about trying to get something together that in our lifetimes gets built, okay? This is, we've been talking about this for 6 years. And, John, the company in Florida, what's the company in Florida? Who's the contact guy on that company?
I don't know his name.
Yeah, well, we've been going through this. Everybody's aware of it. If somebody's got information, bring it. But I've been working with Kim for 3 years on this. We've reached out to, we had GEI for 9 months. They were going to do it. We just got to get through this one project, and then we're going to jump on this. We're going to take it serious. Then finally, we're not going to get to that. So then there was another guy in Connecticut. Oh yeah, this is great. It's not exactly what I do, but we can put together a team. That was 4 months of some nice conversations, but nice conversations that didn't yield anything really measurable. And this is my issue with this, is it's very easy to chase our tails with some guy here or some guy there. You got somebody that's a licensed engineer that does design dredging projects all the time. He's right in town. If he doesn't pick up the phone, I know what time he gets to work in the morning. I'd really like to see something happen here. We will likely have to hire some other people to work with us on this thing. But until we actually start doing something, all we're doing is talking. And
How about the U.S. Navy or the Coast Guard? They do projects like that, and might have some expertise.
This is not a project that even Army Corps is going to do. Because here's the thing, what drives the U.S. Navy or the Army Corps of Engineers to get involved with a project?
Safety.
Navigable waterway. This isn't, it's marginally a navigable waterway. They're going to do what they do a lot of times, is they'll look at it and say the economic benefits here has nothing to do with water quality. The economic benefits here do not warrant the federal government to spend money on this. I think this is going to be on us. We can spend the rest of our lives chasing whoever it might be. I mean, unless we're concerned that the Chinese fleet is going to come in through that West Channel, I don't think the US Navy is going to show any interest.
Now. It's probably, no, I think we should, your idea will give us.
It's not a navigable
an idea
water.
what we're looking
on
at.
the table.
I mean, that was even the problem with Fresh Pond, that the DEC didn't want to help with it because it wasn't a navigable waterway. So,
Well, they have to permit it. We have to go through them and the Army Corps on the permits, and
yeah,
we
we got
have
the
the
permits.
The East Channel
is
was a navigable waterway.
Yeah.
Was.
Now,
But I'm-
now
but you-
they're
but
with
you don't-
Tom Noel in 1980.
No, but
1982.
Rich, you understand.
changed
Rick,
a
you
lot
understand-
there. Things have changed a
I
lot.
know.
That used to be like the main port for the
There were fish factories on the East Shore.
fish factories.
Mm-hmm.
There was a
No,
12
not there, it was on the outside.
No.
They had
fish
stuff
factories on
in
the
a
inside.
12-foot
East Shore
channel
does it all.
running down the west, the east side of that harbor. A lot of it's still there.
Well, I just think, I don't know, I hope everybody's eyes are open. There's going to be a full environmental impact statement requested by the DEC. The county's going to have to commit to, keeping that thing open. That's going to be a huge lift. There's a lot of huge lifts, and we're going to be faced with one huge lift after another.
So you're saying it's not worth doing?
I don't know if it's worth doing myself.
Maybe
I
it's-
don't know.
What we're really talking about right now is trying to find out if it's worth doing. I mean, we know it's something we
yeah,
want
I
done.
I think
We have to find out if it's
intuitively,
feasible.
we all
and
realize.
This is a step
But
forward.
I think we have to take everybody's input sort of seriously, not dismissively.
Not sort of seriously, we're gonna have to take it very seriously.
Well, how about talking to the county executive, Ed Romaine, and get,
We've spoken to Ed Romaine,
okay, so was he supportive?
yes,
See, that's the thing, if Ed
But-
is supportive,
but we have to put together. Okay, we had a conversation with Ed Romaine. He was, in the conversation, it was light, it was casual, put together a package, a program that I can support. That was, it can't be a cocktail party
No.
conversation. It's got to be something real.
you
And
have
what
to
I'm
have
saying
that
is
document.
trying to get something real.
Yeah, because if you could socialize that with people like Ed Romaine, show him what you have, the package, then he could say, I'm interested in this and maybe my county guys will help, It's like,
Well, that's,
Well, the county executive certainly may help nudge a recalcitrant, Department of Public Works to sign on to maintaining this thing.
But we actually got to get to the point that you have a project that you can get approved.
yeah, you need a document to,
So we should,
like a scoping document.
yeah.
I'm not sure what you call
What do we have in the file for the last time that we dug it out?
it. You got a bill, I think, from Carmine DeSuno.
It was with Danny Shields, I think.
It's Carmine DeSuno.
It was to Carmine, so, yeah.
Okay, went down there and dug it out, and I think 3 days later it closed up.
Yeah, it was a couple of months.
No, it would last the season. I was there. We were working at the hatchery there when they did it. When it closed, when they opened it 2 or 3 times. It would last the season, close up in the fall.
The other thing is it will require work from us, like work to review things and.
Yeah.
You want to restate your motion?
In which way?
What are you looking for?
Looking for approval of Drew Bennett's proposal. He's going to bill us on an hourly basis. He has an approximation of 25 grand. I think you all received it. In terms of scope and scale, I'd say it's down there. What we're going to be talking about at some point is something up here.
Well, let me ask you this, Jim. Is there, did you talk to Drew, or I didn't read the proposal in depth. Is it in the proposal, or did you even talk to him about meeting with us? You know, not necessarily before, but if we approve this, to meet with us
We
to.
didn't, but we've done this with Drew before. We did it with Northwest Creek. Drew's willing to meet with us.
I think that would be helpful, just to, you know, hear what the skeptics on the board might say and see what he says about it. He's the engineer. He must understand this stuff and the difficulty of doing these things and the obstacles are going to encounter, regulatory obstacles and stuff.
I think the regulatory environment is going to be the massive obstacle. Like the technical piece, I think the engineer could deliver.
Yeah, you can cut through the thing, of course. Yeah, but that's the least of it. That's the least of it.
Yeah, the least of it, because when we try to do permitting, you know, we have to think about the nature of the request and how unique it is to the permitting agency.
Agencies.
Yeah, multiples.
Motion on the table.
I'll second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed?
I'm for it with some reluctance.
Got to either be in it or you got to be against it. John?
He's in, he's all in.
He's on board.
Yeah, he's on.
Okay, thank you, John.
When you need when you're ready, either you or Drew needs information on the history of the two inlets, I got it already written up.
Okay.
And that's with a cap of 25,000 for the moment.
The trustees in 2040 will have to hopefully get that one over the finish line.
It'll take sooner than that. Kayak on Duke Drive, kayaks on the beach.
Let me just update you a little bit on, I did have a conversation with Tammy Sweet of Fidelity Title. This would be if you weren't interested in trying to acquire that property. Remember, at the end of Duke Drive, there's a strip of reserved area from the West Harbor subdivision, it's a 1959 subdivision that was developed by Paul Bianco. It's basically an unknown owner property today. It's probably, we believe, you know, me talking to Tammy and just kind of knowing things, it's probably almost certainly never left the Bianco family's hands. They didn't form a homeowners association. Paul Bianco died in 1976 in Florida. According to Tammy, who's already done a little bit of research. His wife Mildred died in East Hampton in 1992. Best guess, but this is what the title company would try to figure out, is that she probably owned the property. She probably got what her husband had owned. And she was probably the owner when she died in 1992. Who are her heirs today? Who the heck knows?
Has anybody paid taxes on the property?
No, it's not even on the tax rolls. It's a reserved area, it's not on the tax rolls. If it was on the tax rolls, it would be owned by Suffolk County right now. So it's not, it's basically, essentially unknown owner property. As you know, there is a driveway that crosses it to go to a house on the south side. That driveway's been there for a very long time. Apparently that property was owned by Bianco as well. Family does not own the house anymore, of course. So that's the one thing I looked into. So I asked Tammy, so what would be the estimated cost of this? Because they've got to run deeds, every deed out of Paul Bianco to find out, did he convey this out? Even though we're 99% sure he didn't. They still have to run all the deeds out of Bianco. Bianco owned a lot of land. He owned land here, he owned land at the old end of Old House Landing Road. He developed a lot in that quadrant of Northwest Woods. So they have to do that. And they have to also look to see if there are any like covenants and restrictions that were filed maybe at the time of the subdivision map that would give other people rights in the property. We do have a note on the subdivision map that says that reserve area was set aside for the benefit of the property owners in the West Harbor subdivision. So we assume they already have rights, but they don't own the property. So anyway, her estimated cost would be probably mid-single thousands dollars wise. It could be $2,500, it could be $7,500, if you wanted to look at, if you wanted to, go that route. The other thing I didn't look into any further is, we did talk about the edge of where's the mean high water mark. And I was planning to look at that Dolphin Lane case and kind of shepherdize that, find out what, if there's any later case. I just didn't get around to it.
It seems to me that there's a lot of obstacles here in terms of if we tried to establish kayak racks the way we have otherwise, said this beach is being cluttered and it's our beach and we're going to put kayak racks here and charge people to put their kayaks on it. I think there's a lot of questions down there of what ground we stand on. So I think it might be better to just maybe, I don't know, put a sign there or something. Don't leave the kayaks on the beach, or clean up after yourself or something like that. And identify it as the trustees, and it's kind of a halfway measure, but it's establishing our interest in the beach area there as we feel it's our, within our jurisdiction, but it's not, going to a point where, we may just get into a quagmire of legalities. It's just my feeling.
Do you want to make a motion about that?
Well, I don't know if we need to make a motion. It's just, I think if we wanted to establish kayak racks, we might have to make a motion, but I don't know if we need to make a motion to just
Put a sign up.
put a sign up.
So
Yeah, in the spring, we'll put up a sign.
you do need to put a motion for that. Otherwise, where does it fall?
All right, I'll make a motion. We put a sign up
I'll second it.
on the beach at Duke Drive, talking about,
You can just reference the town code on leaving vehicles on beach grass or something on.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What you were referring to, that was going to be the cost of doing a search?
Title search.
You had to find out, to do two things. First of all, find out who owns the property, that property. And then secondly, and less important, just to see if there's any, easements, restrictions, or anything that were imposed in connection with the subdivision.
So is that something we're interested in?
well, I mean, my question would be if that land is, if there's interest in purchasing that land to clearly make it public land, are we the best ones to do that, or is, land
Community
management
Preservation
the best
Fund kind of
way to
thought.
go? They're all set up for that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't know.
I wouldn't do the title search unless you or someone on behalf of the town was thinking of buying the property. That would really be to set things up, to try to find out who you try to purchase it from.
Can we tell Scott Wilson what is a nice piece of property?
It may already
Some of those
be
things
on their
are.
radar. I don't know.
I doubt it.
So who would purchase it, like CPF money?
Yeah,
So would be land acquisition be the,
they usually make the recommendations to the town board.
yeah,
Yeah, so we should make a
The
recommendation.
nature preserve
So one
committee.
of the things that they could also, the first thing I think you would try, if you found out who the heirs are, you wouldn't pay them much money. You would really ask them, do you want to donate it to us? Because, right now, if you're the owner, you have a liability. Not that anyone who gets hurt there will be able to figure out who owns it either. But there's no economic benefit to ownership.
But if there's language in the people's deeds relative to that piece, which there may be,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that would come up in the title search, correct?
I'm gonna guess that it's probably just a notation on the map, meaning that people in the subdivision have the right to cross that to go to the beach.
Right.
That's
Would
probably the
that,
extent.
would that give them authority, or I don't know if that's the right word, to weigh in on a public purchase of that piece?
They could weigh in on it. They couldn't stop it. As long as we don't, as long as the government doesn't prevent them from using it for access to the beach, they're not hurt.
But if it's in their deeds now, the way it is, would they be, probably shouldn't say this on camera, would they think, well, if the town purchases it, now everybody in the town?
Yeah, that would be the concern.
Yeah.
But there's lots more convenient places to put your kayak in the water than going down there. You know, maybe you live in that area of Northwest Woods, you might go there. You're not coming from Springs to put your kayak in at the Duke Drive, you know.
I know there are fishermen that take access there. Nobody's ever, said anything, but.
All right. Administrative, payment of the bills. Following bills need to be paid. East Hampton Business Services, $44. East Hampton Marina, $1,234.53 to winterize the 3 Mile Harbor pump out boat.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Financials to be approved, May of 2025 and June of 2025. Anybody have a chance to look at them?
I find no problem with them.
Both of them? Want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have minutes from October 17th and October 27th, 2025.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Anybody have anything else? Yeah, so while the office is cleared, I mean, literally cleared, it's a good time for us to reorganize. And we got a price to run desktop around the perimeter of the walls. And the idea is to give desk space. It's kind of mobile-ish. Anyway, the estimate is $1,000 for materials, $2,500 for labor.
I'll make a motion to approve it. That's cheap.
Second.
Well, wait, before we, I think we should do what we did for the shed, maybe make a motion for a little bit more, since this is an estimate, in case it's, comes in a little higher.
So we've got $3,500. Why don't we make a motion, cap it out at $5,000?
Agreed, yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Just a comment, by the way, I did talk to Chris Carrillo today, so I think he's feeling pretty good. So I think quite probably by the next meeting, he will be back.
That's what's okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Well, Rick, thank you for your time.
Thank
you for everything. Yeah.
Great resource.
Please keep calm, yeah.
Don't be a stranger.
Excuse me, trustee, did you actually second all the adjournment?
Hold on a second. Guys, quiet. Matt, can you repeat that?
Did you actually second and all in favor aye for the adjournment?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.